Yeah, it'll be great. I wonder if once the WWE network moves over to the cock, if in fact they'll download some more Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling.
I can't imagine that will be the case.
Really?
No, I would think at that point you'd start putting less effort in, not more.
Me?
No, not you, the company.
Oh.
Like, beforehand, maybe they thought people were actually tuning in for the old stuff, but I think all the data shows that most of the views actually come from the current stuff. And then when you and I or, Bruce or JR, whoever covers something, then they'll see a spike for that. But I don't think the old stuff really pops unless there's an anniversary that they're pushing or it's something that we're pushing on our pods.
So you think they're going to phase this shit out?
No. I'm just saying, I don't think that it will be near the priority. I think old WWF stuff, maybe we'll get more superstars and more wrestling challenge. I don't see them. Oh man. All the guys at NBC, they're itching to hear what Sam Houston was saying in '87. I just don't think they're going to do that.
So let's buy it.
Let's buy what?
All the old Crockett shit. Let's buy it.
Well, I'm down.
And we'll put it on our own platform and call it What Happened When. And you go back and you look at all this shit that you loved and fuck the new stuff, except AEW.
Yeah. I was like, well, that's a big time take right there. I don't know if I might need to clip that out, but hey,
Okay.
Here's what we're doing. We're going to start dropping these every Saturday at 6:05, and we've missed 5 episodes of 86 so far. We're going to go back and do them, but we thought what made most sense for today, because Tony and I are actually recording this on the 6th, the day you're getting it. We wanted to make sure that we had the companion piece for this week's TV. So it'll be all the current stuff that we're watching on WHW. And if you're behind, then none of this mattered and you can actually watch them all in order. But we missed the first 5 weeks. Life got in the way, but we will go back and fix that. It's not too terrible of a commitment since they're only about 45-minute episodes. But let's give some context to what we're watching here, Tony. This Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling show was a syndicated show that had been on TV in some various form for years. And then finally, when you guys land TBS in 85, the TBS show becomes the A show. But this was originally the A show. This was your infomercial to sell tickets to live events and cut promos and put over squash matches and things like that. But then the TBS show really became the A show, and this took a back seat. But it's still a valuable piece of real estate, because they had a ton of affiliates, and we talk about that with Jim Crockett in our sit down interview over at adfreeshows.com. But give some context to what this show was and how important it was prior to TBS.
Well, and I know Dick Bourne would agree with me. This was the show that began my fandom and probably his into pro wrestling, because this was the old Crockett A show. They put Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling in all their key markets. That was their number one show. You saw it in Roanoke. You saw it in Richmond. You saw it in Charlotte, Greensboro, all the big markets that were in the Mid-Atlantic, in the Carolinas and Virginia. And I think probably a couple of places in West Virginia as well. I'm not sure. But especially Virginia, the Carolinas, Columbia, South Carolina, Greenville, South Carolina, they all had this show. But as time went on, it almost kind of became the C show in a way, because they always had worldwide wrestling.
Right.
As far as I can remember. Now, there was probably a time where there was only Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling, and maybe Dick Bourne knows when worldwide wrestling started. Don't know when that was. Because I remember Rich Landrum being the commentator for this.
Right.
So now we're talking 70s. And then as we moved on, I remember that when they wanted to expand Jim Crockett Promotions, go into other territories, right? They went with worldwide, because Mid-Atlantic had a Mid-Atlantic connotation to it, only in the Mid-Atlantic. Then they changed this show. I don't know when it came out. They changed this show to NWA Pro Wrestling from Mid-Atlantic. I don't know when that change took place. It was sometime around here. that it took place, maybe 87. They changed the name of the show. And then it became Bob Caudle and Jim Ross, and then me and David doing Worldwide. So this was the old standby show. This was the bread and butter of Jim Crockett Promotions. And again, you're right. TBS came in and they changed it. Now, this show changed because this show used to be a studio show. It was no longer a studio show. This was a show that we went out and was shot in these places that I can remember: Rock Hill, South Carolina, Greenville, South Carolina, Greenwood, South Carolina. Let's see, Catawba, North Carolina, Fayetteville, North Carolina, the Cumberland County Civic Center. We shot shows there. Salisbury, North Carolina. Where else, man? The smaller arenas, Spartanburg. We would go, I believe, on Wednesdays to shoot this, and it was within driving to from Charlotte. So these were cool for me back in the day because I was able to drive to all these different places with Sandy Scott and Gene Anderson a lot from The Office, and a girl who worked in the office named Brenda Evans. We all rode together a lot. So this was pretty cool for me to be able to do this. So it was a good time, man. The show ceased being a very important, but as we've seen on our TBS shows, they would show a lot of footage from it.
Yes. Let's give some context to this one.
Yeah.
This aired on February 8th, 1986, which, by the way, is also a Saturday. So that's kind of fun. I mean, it's all about wrestling on Saturdays because this airs the same day that the TBS show airs, and it was different times in different markets, but I would think that this is usually more of a morning show in a lot of markets. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. We're talking not early morning. We're talking mid-morning on Saturdays.
Yeah. So after your Sunday or after your weekend cartoons, Saturday or Sunday morning cartoons, then they would have this. And then of course that night at 6:05, you would see the TBS show, but this is recorded 4 days prior in Spartanburg, South Carolina at the Memorial Auditorium. So it happens on February 4th. It airs on February 8th. Of course, we know on TBS, they would record it first thing that morning and it would air later that night. So Tony, I've got it pulled up on my end. We're going to start with February 8th, 1986. And we'll find a way to incorporate some fun countdowns in the future. But at least for now, Tony, do you want to count us in and we'll watch this 48-minute show together?
We sure will. Once again, Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling, February 8th, 1986 on the network. Not yet on the cock, but on the network in 3, 2, 1, play.
Back and forth. Look at Rick. Look at Rick now. Taking that shoe off.